Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are everyday people. I'd like to welcome you all to the show. Today we're talking about a message that was done in the past, but it really was for today's time. The warning was clear. The message was clear. The event was amazing. There has not been an event such as what took place on October 16th, 1995, the Million Man March. It was brilliant. It was on time, but really it was for today's time. If you pay attention and you listen to the message that was given, which I'll play a little bit of that message for you today. But I do want to say that with all the impeachment and everything that was going on, this was actually coming into play, if you will, at the Million Man March when Minister Farrakhan gave a magnificent lecture, because the information and knowledge that he prescribed and gave to all of us who were there, and I was fortunate enough to be there in 1995. Words can't describe the energy and the feeling and the connection. It was almost as if we were one, meaning whether you were it was people there from Africa, Brazil, Houston, Chicago, New York, Delaware, Trinidad, Jamaica. I mean, black people represented from England, from all over the globe, who was there and present. And we realized, wow, the power of all of us gathering at one spot on a positive message, hearing a positive message. You can't explain it. Everybody was energized, ready to go and build, because it was something in our subconscious that clicked. But as the march was going on, of course, you had the naysayers who was working against that energy, because they saw the power within our unity, but the blessing part was everybody that was there saw something, and it's embedded in them now, and it's embedded in their children. And so as the future comes into play, those who were there, you can't shake or they can't get rid of what they heard and what they witnessed. So as the future comes into play, that Million Man March, long live the Million Man March, is true. It's coming up, it's building, it's growing. The root was planted October 16, 1995, and now everybody that was there, and those who had children, and then those children who had children, you got 3 generations in a sense since 1995 that was fed off that Million Man March energy that they saw, and they're starting to bud like beautiful flowers. So let me play a little bit of it so you can gather what I'm talking about, especially for those of you who wasn't there and who haven't heard the speech. But if you go back, you gotta go. If you haven't heard it, you gotta listen to the speech in its entirety. You can go and just hit YouTube and hit Million Man March, and it's about 2 hours. Listen to the minister. Listen to the whole speech. But this is not the whole speech. This is just a portion. But look, it was so dynamic and so magnificent to where you can just pick any point and play, and it's knowledge and wisdom all through it. Let me prove what I'm saying right here live on Verbal Pick Radio.
There's no country like this on the earth. And certainly if I lived in another country, I might never have had the opportunity to speak as I speak today.
Go ahead.
I probably would have been shot outright, and so would my brother Jesse, and so would Maulana Karenga, and so would Dr. Ben Chavis, and Reverend Al Sampson, and all the wonderful people that are here. But because this is America, you allow me to speak even though you don't like what I may say. Because this is America, that provision in the Constitution for freedom of speech and freedom of assembly and freedom of religion, that is your saving grace. Because what you're under right now is grace. And grace is the expression of divine love and protection which God bestows freely on people. God is angry, America. He's angry, but his mercy is still present.
Go ahead, Minister.
Brothers and sisters, look at the afflictions that have come upon us in the black community.
Go ahead, Brother Minister.
Do you know why we're being afflicted?
Go ahead.
God wants us to humble ourselves to the message that will make us atone and come back to him and make ourselves whole again. Well, why is God afflicting America? Why is God afflicting the world? Why did Jesus say there would be wars and rumors of wars and earthquakes in diverse places and pestilence and famine? And why did he say that these were just the beginning of sorrows? In the last 10 years, America has experienced more calamities than at any other time period in American history. Why, America? God is angry. He's not angry because you're right. He's angry because you're wrong and you want to stone and kill the people who want to make you see you're wrong.
Go ahead, Minister. Go ahead. Preach it, Minister.
And so the Bible says Elijah must first come. Why should Elijah come? Elijah has the job of turning the hearts of the children back to their fathers and the father's heart back to the children. Elijah becomes an axis upon which people turn back to God and God turns back to the people. And that's why they said Elijah must first come. And so here we are, 400 years, fulfilling Abraham's prophecy. Some of our friends in the religious community have said, why should you take atonement? That was for the children of Israel. I say, yes, it was. But atonement for the children of Israel prefigured our suffering here in America. Israel was in bondage to Pharaoh 400 years. We've been in America 440 years. They were under affliction, we're under affliction. They're under oppression, we're under oppression. God said, that nation which they shall serve, I will judge. Judgment means God is making a decision against systems, against institutions, against principalities and powers. And that's why Paul said, we war not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and the rulers of the darkness of this world and spiritual wickedness in high places. God is sending his decision. I can't help it. If I've got to make the decision, no.
Tell it.
You don't understand me. My people love me. And yet, I point out the evils of black people like no other leader does. But my people don't call me anti-black. Because they know I must love them in order to point out what's wrong so we can get it right to come back into the favor of God. But let me say in truth, you can't point out wrong with malice. You can't point out wrong with hatred.
Go ahead. Come on.
Because if we point out wrong with bitterness and hatred, then the bitterness and the hatred becomes a barrier between you and the person whom you hope to get right, that they might come into the favor of God. So we as Muslims, who in our first stage, we pointed out the wrong of America, but we didn't point it out with no love. We pointed out with the pain of our hurt, the pain of our suffering, the bitterness of our life story. But we have grown, yes, sir, beyond our bitterness. We have transcended beyond our pain. Why? It's easy for us to say, the white man did this, the white man did that, the white man did the other, the white man did this, he deprived us of that, he killed the Indian, he did this, yes, he did all of that, but all right. Come on, minister. Why did God let him do that? That's the bigger question. And since we are not man enough to question God, we start beating up on the agent who is fulfilling prophecy. But if we can transcend our pain to get up into God's mind and ask God, God, why did you let our fathers come into bondage? God, why did you let us die in the Middle Passage? God, why did you suffer us to be in the holds of ships? God, why did you let him lash us? Why did you let him beat us? Why did you let him castrate us? Why did you let him hang us? Why did you let him burn us? Why, God? Why? We got a right to question God. That's the only way we can become wise.
That's right.
And if we question him like Job did, yes, sir, God may bring you up into his own thinking. And if God were to answer us today, he would say to black people, yes, I allowed this to happen. And I know you suffered. But Martin King, my servant, said, go ahead, brother minister. Undeserved suffering is redemptive. A whole world is lost, not just you black people. Go ahead, brother minister. A whole world has gone out of the way, not just you black people. You the lost sheep, but the whole world is lost. You the bottom rail, but the one that put you on the bottom is then in the bottom with you, holding you down. He's in the bottomless pit himself. He said, black man, I love you. He said, but God, that's a heck of a way to show me you love me. He said, but I love my son. Go ahead. Come on. I love Jesus. John 3:16. More than I love any of my servants. But I had a cross for him. Go ahead. I had nails for him. I had him to be rejected and despised. I had him falsely accused and brought before the courts of men. I had them spit on him. I had them to pierce his side. But I loved him more than anybody else. Why, God? Why did you do it? Why? He said, I did it that I might be glorified. Because like Job, no matter what I did to him, he never cursed me. He never said, my God ain't no good. He said, whatever your will is. And that's what I want to do, and that's why. Even though he descended into hell, I have raised him to the limitless heights of heaven, because only those who know the depths of hell can appreciate the limitless heights of heaven. And so, my children, I caused you to suffer in the furnace of affliction so that I might purify you and resurrect you from a grave of death and ignorance. I, God, yes, sir, put in your soul not desires of your heart. So I'm going to make a new covenant with you. Oh, black man, the secret of the Masonic order is the secret of Hiram Abiff. The secret of the Masonic order is a master builder that was hit in the head. The secret of the Masonic order is a master that ruffians roughed up. I think one of the ruffians was named Jubilo Furman. And another one was named Jubilo Bilbo. And another one was named Jubilo Jesse Helms.
Now, look, he dropped so much knowledge. You got to go listen to the whole speech. As you notice, when he started naming the ruffians who roughed up Hiram Abiff and who hit him in the head and who wanted the secrets, you started noticing how the volume and they were messing with the, that's part of the game, and that's not the big part. That's not nothing major. The major part of the lecture was the mercy. This is 1995, where the minister is saying, "Look, black people, white folk, you suffering. Get it together. Get it together." Do you have the mercy? Do you have the forgiveness? Do you have it in your heart to settle differences and treat all members of society in this America as equals? Let's get it right in 1995. Because what we're saying is, if it's like this, put it like this: when knowledge comes to a people or to anybody who needs knowledge, and I'm not talking about black, white, no specific race. I'm just saying when knowledge comes to a group, one, it's to bring that group into awareness. It's to enlighten the group, but it's also to give the group a chance, or some would use the term mercy. Then, after a while, if the group don't adhere to that knowledge and starts to turn their back on the one that's given knowledge, the one that's given knowledge still will remain given that knowledge and information, even though the group is turning their back on the one that's given knowledge. Because the knowledge is meant to raise and to save. Because the group that's turning their back still has a chance to face the one that's given the knowledge, and they always have a chance to turn face forward towards the one that's given the knowledge. But after time passes by and the one that's given the knowledge to the group start seeing that by him keep on giving that knowledge and that group is back, is still turned, if he continues, then the knowledge will become poison to that group. So he in time would have to turn his back towards the group in order to save himself and let the group suffer what obviously it wants, give them what they want, right? So when that happens, and the one who comes to give that knowledge says, you know what, I tried. I put it in any, all shapes and forms in any way possible to get this message over. Made it as simple and plain as possible. I did what I could do. And that one turns his back or her back and walks away. Then the group, when it starts seeing the results of them not adhering to the knowledge, and then they say, okay, I'm ready to come back, it's too late. They gone. Because once the affliction or once the judgment starts to roll, it's in motion, because the energy it takes to get it in motion. Once it starts moving in motion, it can't stop on a dime and cool its heels. Once it's rolling, it's rolling. And so that was done. The speech that you just heard, that was done in 1995 for today. If you go back and hear that whole speech in its entirety, I'm telling you, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. That was for today. I don't know, man. I really don't know how much time is left, but I do know nobody can say, I don't care if you black, white, Hispanic, Asian, China, whatever, you cannot say that you haven't heard the truth from top to bottom. Everything that you may have wanted to know is right in that October 16, 1995 lecture by Minister Farrakhan at the Million Man March. It's all there. It's all there. Notice, man. I just got to say this. Notice. Byron Allen is suing Comcast. He's using the 1866 Civil Rights Act. He cited it within the lawsuit, right? He also put Reverend Al Sharpton in the lawsuit, stating that Reverend Al Sharpton made a deal with Comcast, saying that he wouldn't boycott Comcast and bring attention to Comcast racist policies that they were involved in. And Comcast supposedly gave him about $1.3 million, his show on MSNBC, and chicken dinners. We did a show on that. Go check it out on YouTube. We did a show on that. You'll see Byron Allen's Civil Rights Act 1866. You'll see that in the YouTube, VRBALPIC Radio, VRBALPIC. Check it out. Subscribe to the YouTube page as well. Get the app on Spreaker, and the way you can catch the shows when I do them, because I don't have a set time. Whenever I feel it, I do it. This is a different type of show. It's not like every other show. So the knowledge, the insight that we give is not like any other show. This is what we do, and it's not predicated on no race. We just drop facts and knowledge, and you do it with what you will. We just put it out there. You know what I mean? And you can take it, like the minister said, you can take it and let it alone. You know what I mean? Whatever. But it's put on the table, and you can do with it what you will. But if you listen to the lecture, you will see why I brought Al Sharpton up and why Byron Allen had him in the lawsuit. If you sit back and listen, you'll get an understanding. But I was floored. I'm looking at these times, and I was at the Million Man March, and I said, well, let me go back and hear that lecture, because he said all of this in 1995. And I'm like, wow, man. The impeachment of Trump, the chaotic scene that the state is in, where now both the Democrats and Republicans are fighting each other. Because he stated in the election, you trying to hold black people down, but you in hell right along with them. You trying to push black folks to the bottom, but you in the bottom pushing black people down. You suffering too, is what he's saying. You're suffering too. Take words of wisdom and let's grow and build from it. Your heart can't be that hard to where you can't recognize someone who's trying to bring peace and mercy and giving you a way out. Atone. I mean, it's all there, man. There's nothing left for me to say. VRBALPIC Radio, we're out.